The Stoics believed that true happiness comes from living virtuously according to nature rather than pursuing external pleasures and achievements that are out of our control. At the core of Stoic thought is accepting reality as it is while focusing our efforts on improving ourselves through reasoned actions. Some key ways to incorporate Stoicism into daily living include: developing courage and fortitude requires facing fears and hardships directly rather than avoiding uncomfortable situations and emotions. It means meeting challenges with patience, perseverance and calm reflection on how to respond prudently rather than react instinctively out of fear, desire, or anger. Every setback presents an opportunity to strengthen our character through considered action guided by wisdom and virtue over fleeting passions. Over time, this builds inner reserves to endure life's difficulties with resilience and composure. Practicing mindfulness keeps us anchored in the present moment through non-judgmental awareness of thoughts, emotions, and surroundings without drifting into rumination over the past or worries about the future. Stoics advocated meditative techniques for cultivating attentiveness to each experience as it occurs without getting caught up in narratives of joy or suffering. This presence of mind allows us to respond rationally to what's before us rather than on autopilot driven by impulses or preconceptions. Daily mindfulness trains lucidity and balance amid the ups and downs life brings. Accepting what we can't control saves energy and mental distress better spent on productive goals within our power. While planning and taking prudent steps are reasonable, worrying or anger over unforeseen outcomes that depend on variables outside our influence only breeds needless agitation. This detachment frees us to engage fully with life's possibilities without fear of where they may lead externally, since we have cultivated inner resources through virtue that no circumstance can diminish. Trust is placed in reason's ability to handle uncertainties calmly as they arise rather than anxiety over unpredictability. Exercising non-attachment goes hand in hand with acknowledging impermanence. Nothing lasts forever, including health, relationships, possessions, or even life itself. While carefully enjoying what benefits come our way, we refrain from grasping desperately or identifying too closely with anything subject to change, which can cause emotional instability when loss inevitably strikes. A light hold allows adaptability to transitions without resentment or bitterness. Necessities are appreciated without craving luxuries that inflate desires while obscuring virtues of humility and self-sufficiency. Living simply according to nature reminds us that basic needs sustain humanity soundly without excess that stokes conflict over status or inflames vain aspirations, disrupting peace of mind. Moderation avoids extremes that disrupt reason with indulgence in pleasures or austere asceticism denying reasonable comforts. Balance supports thriving cooperatively within limits, recognizing shared interest undergirding society's durability versus harming others or the environment for coveted baubles that leave still wanting within once obtained. Expressing gratitude switches perspective from lack to abundance daily by consciously appreciating life's blessings, large and small. This nourishes contentment, restores perspective during hard times, and motivates kindness, which fuels further goodwill. Rather than judging conditions as imperfect according to desires, we acknowledge uplifting aspects for which we feel thankful. Not only does this uplift the spirit, research shows gratitude strengthens mental and physical well-being over fixation on problems and complaints over circumstances we cannot change. Cultivating justice, compassion and service to humanity improves character through consideration of others and participation in the greater whole. Private virtues are actualized through principled action and presence which benefits communities. Whereas resentments grow inwardly from unhealthy comparisons or retreating from responsibilities breeding selfishness and social isolation, equity nourishes cooperative strengths of interdependence and fellowship supporting all. Good of others becomes meaningful as good of self through enlightened self-interest recognizing shared fate. Lastly, developing equanimity allows riding both fortune's crests of joy and troughs of sorrow with an even keel. Neither attached nor averse to passions and events outside control, tranquility springs from flow of occurrences accepted as natural minglings of life's currents navigable judiciously versus fought against exacerbating unrest through desire, grief, or rebellion against reality's fluidity imperiling stability. While not apathetic or suppressing healthy expression, composure endures through cultivation of virtues like courage, perspective and non-attachment over fleeting sensations or outcomes alone determining peace within. Practicing these Stoic concepts can foster living purposefully according to reason and conscience as honorable, resilient members of society. While challenges remain inherent, cultivated wisdom guides participating gifts through difficulties encountered judiciously versus resigning amid anxieties over uncertainties beyond governing directly yet still navigable equably through character maturing insightfully. This long form sought to elucidate approaches for cultivating inner freedom amid changing external forces, exercising authority through detachments, lessening suffering needlessly while still allowing prudent participation, life's education, ripening humanity gradually through providential experiences. While wisdom lies in accepting what cannot be changed, it is important not to use this as an excuse for detachment from problems one can and should try to improve. The Stoics saw philosophizing not just as intellectual activity, but as a way of actively engaging with life using reason and virtue to benefit humankind. This requires prudent yet active participation through challenges. A balanced approach accepts limits of personal influence while cooperating judiciously where ability exists. Stoics encouraged reforming prejudices through respectful discussion rather than condemnations inflaming conflicts. Persuasion occurs considerately, appealing to justice's light versus resentment's heat, aggravating unrest. While patience nurtures long-term changes, urgency prioritizes some injustices endured too long if non-violently addressed. Cooperation entails both receiving and imparting assistance for mutual benefit. Stoics recognized dependencies and gave back through service sensitively performed according to conscience cultivated. No one claims self-sufficiency completely, yet independence safeguards dignity through responsibility shouldered communally. Interdependence means respecting diversity within harmony cultivated. Challenges present opportunities through resilience activated versus problems fixated upon anxiously restricting solutions. Difficulties address themselves cooperatively yet diligently through wisdom activated rationally versus avoided reactionarily, worsening issues through displacements. Compassion emerges imperfectly exercising yet thoughtfully re-examining tendencies harming others if attachments tighten vulnerabilities. Imperfection means gradual yet urgent progress cooperatively guiding humanity. No one comprehends everything, yet shared discoveries enlighten if humility meets conviction judiciously. Perseverance through patience and diligence ameliorates more constructively than condemnation, infecting equanimity. Resentment serves no higher purpose, while betterment motivates equably. Overall, Stoic participation remains resourcefully engaged yet judiciously paced. Activism prioritizes some pressing injustices through democratic approaches respecting all. Yet withdrawal retains peace of mind through voluntary simplicity if over-identification inflames needless suffering. Balance accepts imperfection through prudent yet active embodiment of virtues like courage, justice, and care according to conscience developed rationally versus emotions strained. While reason guides Stoic participation, emotional expression has a role according to nature. Feelings contain insights into humanity worth understanding judiciously versus suppressing reactions that risk bottling discontent unproductively. Equanimity means navigating experiences vibrantly yet circumspectly without resistance exacerbating affliction through identifications fixating on intensities alone distressingly. Joy arises gratefully from virtues and relationships cultivated versus fleeting pleasures unrelated yet leaving still wanting when provisions change unpredictably. Sorrow emerges as natural yet impermanent reaction to difficulties versus attachments tightening vulnerabilities through resentments over hardships inevitability.